keenly, obviously watching the Wigan players keenly on the Sunday, and he seemed to put in a lot of work in defence. So I was really impressed. So it was nice of him to have a picture with me. So I do hope someone gets on him for next time. Okay. The next game on Sunday was Rochdale versus Swinton. It finished 38-12 to the Lions to hand them their first win of the season. Brian Davies going to touch on.
Good win this for Swinton, says Brian. The Wigan youngsters brought a bit of class to the side. A club like Swinton is primed to be a feeder club to a side like Wigan rather than trying to go it alone and have no real hope. They could thrive as a championship club feeding Wigan fringe players.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. They certainly field a lot of Wigan former youth players in the side. The first half of this one was awful. I've got to be frank. Both sides made a lot of mistakes, particularly in good position. Neither side found trouble getting up the field, but both sides then found trouble keeping hold of the ball when they got up the field. The one thing that was a difference maker in the game, though, was when Swinton did keep hold of the ball in the attacking quarter, they had a halfback who controlled things with a good kicking game, whereas Rochdale's last tackle options were woeful throughout most of the game. So that's probably what gave Josh Woods the man of the match, to be honest, in the end, who also stopped kindly for a photograph to go on the SLP Insta feed. I don't know what came over me this week. I got all selfie crazy. Maybe a Fat Boy Robert Magic Weekend inspired me somehow. But yeah, the Swinton side then in the second half were really, really good because they were playing away from the North Stand. But
was there a slope?
Yeah, no slope. Although if you watch the Swinton's own fan club highlights that you can get on their YouTube channel for free, you can see extended highlights of this one on there. It does look a bit like there's a slope. I think just because the camera angle's a bit slanty that Colin had managed to pull up for most of the footage. But yeah, I'd say good win for Swinton. Finally glad for them to get off the mark with their Wigan links as well, and great outing for Josh Woods in front of the TV cameras from a Wigan fan point of view. Okay, the final game. Batley 18, Dewsbury 20. Do you want to take us through what Dr. Hideous had to tell us about this one, which he already told me because I bumped into him walking out the stadium?
Yeah, Dave said that both teams kept trying to be clever and fucking it up. This meant neither team could pull ahead or impose themselves on the game, leading to a close but frustrating game. The ref did a good job of controlling the game and making sure the players' frustrations didn't boil over into the noble art of pugilism.
Oh yeah, do you know what? We missed something in the Barrow game that we should have spoken about. Speaking of pugilism, the absolute air shot that Gene Ormsby
I heard about
took
this, yeah.
At one of the Sheffield players. Now,
of all the people to be throwing a punch, Gene Ormsby. I mean, let's start there.
But when it comes to like intent and those sorts of things, that could have absolutely knocked a bloke's head off if it landed. Like, thankfully it didn't land because it could have caused serious injury to someone who's prepared for some tough sport, but not for fucking that. So
and he wouldn't be braced for it either. You see Gene Ormsby swinging his arm around, you wouldn't expect it to connect, would you?
Well, exactly, yeah. And there was bits of potential biff boiling up throughout. In the Swinton Rochdale game, there was a bit of biff where basically the best thing I can describe it as is instead of like it turned into a fight, it turned more into like a pylon. One of the Swinton players like jumped and flew and landed on like a pylon.
Did somebody shout bundle? Is that what? And everybody followed the rules.
But in this Dewsbury Batley game, yeah, nothing really ever. It never really got fired up. It was so easy to like miss what was going on.
It's because they play each other 100 times a season now.
I don't know if it's because of that or because like they just don't want the summer bash to be ended on any sort of high by playing these two teams, because they played poorly last year, both of them, and it felt very similar this year. Slightly better game than the one last year, and the Farrell brothers were kind of exciting in the first half for their Batley side, but really no one really stood out or excited me in the performances in this side that of both these teams, and that's all I can really say about it. Let's move on to the
a heavy going, heavy won derby then.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah. So in terms of the standings, the Wolfpack keep their 5-point lead at the top. Now it's Toulouse again in second before London and Fev met with 4. Halifax climb up to 5th, United in 6th. The top 6 look somewhat set with the points difference there. And Batley are then in 7th, Barrow in 8th, Dewsbury 9th and Sheffield 10th. Swindon, who pick up their first win this weekend, use that result to move ahead of Rochdale in the bottom 2, which do look quite set.
Well, potentially, but a good win for Swinton to get them off the board. The guys above them aren't performing that excitingly. So, you know, there's still hope. And while there's hope, then, well, we all know
that's the hope that kills you.
But yeah, League One results, round 11. It was in League One. It started on Saturday with a fun day at Hemel. Record crowd for them at Pennine Way Stadium.
Stadium is not a stadium. You can't call Pennine Way a stadium.
Pennine Way.
It's a ground.
Stand.
Yeah, it's a collective at the best.
Anyway, it finished 68.
Stadiums have changing rooms with working showers.
68 points to 0 in favour of the Bradford Bulls there. It was North Wales 42, Coventry 6. We did have a fan review in on this
Mark
one.
Butler said a routine win for Crusaders. It threatened to get ugly as Crusaders scored after Coventry knocked on in their first set and conceded again after 10 minutes. Coventry were decent in the middle period of the game, though with speed and adventure worthy of more than 6 points. They made plenty of mistakes, though, and these told when they ran out of puff, despite Crusaders not being short of errors themselves. Yeah, it sounds like a similar story for Coventry. A few games where they've scored 10 to 15 to even 20 minutes to impose something and then found themselves a fair chunk behind.
Yeah, unfortunate stuff, a good win for North Wales. It was Workington 38, Newcastle 18, so sort of that helps stretch away from the chasing teams below. Whitehaven 26, York 18. That was a bit of an upset there. That's interesting result.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on?
No, nothing on that one. Keighley 26, London 18. In the Scholars losing that one up in Keighley, and finally.
Yeah, I paid attention to this one because there was one of the Wigan youngsters played on dual reg for the Scholars, but it ultimately they were ahead at half time. I think London Scholars were, but Keighley able to tough it out and win the second half.
Yeah, Hunslet 86, West Wales 0. So doing better again. West Wales keeping it, to a more respectable score. And
after seeing a South Wales Ironmen shirt last weekend at the Magic Weekend, I saw a West Wales Raiders shirt this weekend at the Summer Bash.
And weirdly, I think I mentioned this to you in the week, I saw a South Wales Scorpions hoodie in a pub in Bath on Tuesday night.
Yeah, there you go. It's all good for the merchandising. The shirts actually look quite nice in person.
I did like the Ironmen was a really nice, from a graphic design point of view, it was a very nice, very nice logo and the shirts are very nice. It's just probably only about 10 in existence.
That is the shame of it. But it's good to see that there's people paying an interest in them despite the tough goings on down there. Bradford have opened up a 2-point gap from York now, who sits second. Then 5 teams all have 14 points. Oldham, Doncaster, Workington, Keighley and Whitehaven. Hunslet at 8th in behind them. Next come North Wales, Newcastle Scholars, Coventry, Hemel and West Wales. So it's an exciting race for that for those top 5 playoff spots midway through the season there. Into the Women's Super League, it was Featherstone 22, Bradford 46, which we saw at the Summer Bash. Bradford absolutely dominated the first half, then let Featherstone score a few tries down the end away from where we were. We had a good laugh with some of the Bradford players about that. One of the Bradford fullback in the first half, we gave a bit of stick for the fact that all the points were up the other end, and then she did score a try in the second half right in front of us, in front of the stick, so that was quite entertaining there. And it was on Sunday, first game they played at Headingley for the Leeds ladies, Leeds Rhinos women. It was 40 points to 12 over the Castleford Tigers. Dr. Bob Phillips got in touch with this one because, of course, it was streamed on Facebook and said, "It's good to see a Rhinos team with go forward, tackling ability, off the cuff moves and speed in the wings. The loss of their vice captain Danica Preem didn't hold them back, though I thought they lost a little crunch, and I hope the injury proves to be a minor one." Final score 40-12 with the Cas team battling to the end. Into the NRL now. It was round 12 in the NRL. It started on Thursday with the Broncos beating bottom of the table Eels by 18 points to 10. Then it was a close, exciting one. First up on Friday, with the Raiders winning 21 points to 20 over the Seagulls. Elliot Whitehead played in that victory for the Canberra Raiders. It was the Cowboys. Sorry.
No. I was just going to.
The Cowboys 6, the Storm 7, the Roosters 34, the Gold Coast 14, and then the game I saw some of this weekend was the Warriors 10, the Rabbitohs 30, and all of the Burgesses were impressive in this one. George Burgess got a try in 5 tackles. Tom Burgess got a try in 111 metres and a sin bin. Sam Burgess had a try assist in 113 metres. So all power to the Burgeye there.
Yeah, you got a. It's the first time that both George and Tom have scored a try in the same match as well.
Wow, that's impressive stuff. Twin action there. The game after that was a bit of a turn up. It was the top 2 though, so you would have expected something exciting. But it turned out to just be one-sided. The Panthers winning 28 points to do over the Dragons. Graham and Widdop played for the Dragons but didn't really deliver, unfortunately. It was the Knights 10, the Sharks 48 in a shellacking for Newcastle. And then the final game, a close one, an exciting one, was West Tigers 14, the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs 10. St George are still top, but joined on points by Penrith. The Rabbitohs and Sharks now complete the top 4 ahead of the Warriors, Storm, Roosters, ahead of the Warriors. Then the Storm, the Roosters and West Tigers make up the top 8 with the Broncos just outside of that playoff party as we move into Origin season. Okay, we had a couple of things in on a couple of other games. Do you want to take us through those? And I'll try and find the result of the scoreline of this first game whilst you're taking us through it.
I've got a feeling it was 40-6, but it was something around that nature. It was Hunslet Club Parkside against the Myton Warriors. And Sarah said that this is the first match that she's watched on Free Sports. It was an interesting experience. Myton were poor to say the least. The Hunslet team were physically bigger and bossed the game, and it's easy to see why they're unbeaten this season.
Yeah, it was 40 points to nil for Hunslet Club Parkside, who were going great guns so far. We also had something in on the PDRL game that went on at Headingley and was streamed as well through Facebook by the Rhinos.
Yep, Dr. Bob said on this one that he's never seen physical disability rugby league and was pleased by a physical and skillful game. The range of disabilities was huge, with blokes with probable diplegic CP. I'm going to have to request an explanation on that one. In red shorts, scooting away to giant props with below elbow limb loss, crashing through tackles and running 50 metres. Who doesn't want to see that? Particular praise to Rhino Sam Zeller, who after excellent footwork in the clear passed to his fullback to score. Final score 56-14 to Leeds. PDRL's really taken off this year, and I'm kind of wanting to watch some of it.
Yeah, definitely. I want to get down to a game at some point. Certainly, it's great that the women's game and the PDRL game, as well as the wheelchair game, that's already got itself its own Challenge Cup and that sort of stuff. It's great to have this expansion of the playing talent pool of our game, because it's really what's going to help us maintain our funding levels and talk about, that's a crass way to look at it, but it's huge for the participation of the game to continue growth in these areas, and it's great to see that we're leading the way on these kind of things, particularly the physical disability side of it, because hey, it's a game that you would expect people with physical disabilities to maybe bulk away from, and you're not seeing that from these lads. It's fantastic stuff, and
it's good as well because from a marketing point of view, if you get more players in playing, and they then go on to watch more rugby league, and that's going to only be helpful in terms of both audience figures and people going along to games. That's only going to help long term, and it's just sounds from the sound of things fantastic to watch.
Yeah, okay, so that's all the results from around the world of rugby league, well and truly covered by us there, Tim. Let's move on now to preview and predictions, where we'll be looking at the Challenge Cup quarter-finals. So predictions time, and again, sponsorship is available if you want to get in touch by email superleaguepod@gmail.com if you're interested in sponsoring the show. I can promise you that I've been told off for how low my rates are by those existing sponsors, so please do get in touch. In terms of what we're looking forward to this week, it's mostly the quarterfinals of the